Hey, William.
Yeah.
Hey. Hey, I think this movie is a great way to start the Dark Universe. I can't wait to see how it goes out. All right, William. So for context, it is currently 2014, and we are recording this in 2014. Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah,
wait a
sure.
few years to release this. I'm gonna say like 2020. I'm gonna upload this. I hope that in 2020 the Dark Universe is off to a good start. Even though technically at this point in 2014 the term Dark Universe is not used yet. But I'm gonna call it the Dark Universe now, and hope that within in 6 years when I upload this video, the Dark Universe is off to a good start.
Yeah, man. I can't believe that like it will be released soon
There's no
on
way
March 27th of
There's no way this
2020.
franchise could fail. It's gonna be great.
Oh my god. Oh god. Okay, so I guess we're gonna be talking about Dracula Untold.
Yeah, in the year
Wow.
2014.
Yes,
You-
it's not like it's March 27th, 2020.
No, no, it's not. No. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm sure in the future everything will be better. We are all gonna be outside and doing outside stuff in March 2020.
God, dude. Yeah, we're all gonna be in a crowded mall and just all coughing
We're all
and sneezing on each other
we're all-
without
yeah,
disease to worry about.
Wait. So the year is 2014 now, right? I'm gonna call
Uh-huh.
it. In 2014, the new social norm is gonna be coughing on each other.
Hashtag cough on each other. Is that what we're gonna be cutting?
Yeah. Boy, hey, have you been reading those stories? Speak off topic real quick. Have you been reading on the coronavirus story? Which I'm gonna
God.
assume which is gonna be a story in year 2020, because remember,
God damn.
this is still 2014.
Oh my god. Alright, okay, let's get to talking about the movie before this gets any worse than it is right now.
No, hold on, real quick. I just want to do a quick side off. Hey, have you been hearing all those stories about people who've been purposely pranking, using the coronavirus as a prank and getting charged as
No,
terrorists?
yeah, you know what? Fuck those people, okay?
Oh, no, fuck
They
those
deserve
people.
to get
Go
fucking
fuck
charged
off.
for that shit, alright?
They
can
fucking
fuck
deserve that
off.
shit. Oh, fuck. When I heard it, I was like, good, they fucking deserve it. Fucking Christ. I was like, oh, fuck. Alright, we're good. Alright.
God,
Alright,
okay,
back to the year
let's-
2014. Back to the year 2014.
We're going back in time.
Yeah.
Going back to the past.
Yeah.
Samurai Jack. Anyway. But, oh god. So I will start off by saying I didn't hate this movie. Like, I enjoyed it.
I think these
But-
movies fine just as like a one-off movie you watch. I was like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
but the
bad,
thing
it's
is-
not good.
Like, as a generic vampire movie. This is how I'm gonna go with it. As a generic
Mm-hmm.
vampire movie, it's fine. But as a Dracula movie, it's shit. That's how we're going with this, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because you get like you expect one thing with Dracula, but as a general vampire movie, you would expect a whole bunch of other things. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
God, like if like this would have worked better if it was more the idea that like it's like now we have Charles Dance's character. Okay, so I guess we have to get into the movie at this point. So the idea
Yeah.
is that basically you have Vlad the Impaler,
Mm-hmm.
who was taken in by the Turks because his father gave him one. Because this is a Turkish empire. They don't fuck with them at this point. This is probably at their height of the power that we're assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, Dracula is basically their best soldier. Like, everyone feared him. Oh, hello, that download's done.
Oh, okay.
It's yeah. So everyone fears Vlad the Impaler because he's made a name for himself for being like basically he's a fucking war criminal.
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes back home. He tries to live a life of peace and stuff.
Yeah.
And
that's
then-
what you do after war. You live a life of peace.
Yeah.
Thanos
and then,
did it.
Thanos did it exactly.
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
he went to live on his farm.
Yeah.
He might have lost his arm, but you know he went on.
Yeah,
to live on his farm.
I hope in the year 2019, Avengers there will be a good Avengers movie that will pay
God,
off
dude.
their Marvel universe.
God, dude. But fucking.
It will compete with the Dark Universe movie
God.
of that year as well.
God. Yeah, it was very hard to decide which cinematic universe was better, Dark Universe or like the Marvel universe. It
Yeah.
was very hard.
It was very
But
hard.
anyway, yeah. Anyway, so but the Turkish Empire, you get the Turkish Empire coming back into Vlad's I guess small kingdom. It's not entirely said if he has an actual kingdom or if it's just like a small like country or something. I don't know. It's very hard to determine because they never really specify. And so they come and basically asking for him to like give him all these children so that they have soldiers and stuff. Basically, the Spartan program for Halo, if you want to be like that. But they're very open and blatant about it, and they're dicks. And so, basically he has to give his son, and then he tries to tell them no. That he's like, nah, give me them boys, man. And then they're like, and then he's like, nah, you know what, nah, fam, I'm fighting against you. And then there's this legend of like this old vampire who lives up in the mountains. So he goes up to the vampire, and the vampire's like, yo, just drink my blood. If you can resist, you're human. But if you can't, then you're one of us, and I'm free, and then you're my slave forever. It's essentially the premise here.
Yeah.
Right? And so then, he tries to save his people and whatever. And so that's the thing. That's basically what the movie is. He's trying to save his people by being the noble, sacrificial hero. By cursing himself. But then, as he is Dracula, he should be falling to this curse.
Mm-hmm. Wow, this movie did really well. Holy shit! It made over $200 million.
I mean, it wasn't like it's certainly a good spectacle to watch.
Yeah, it's a good popcorn flick. But why the fuck did they make it? Why did they? Oh, hold on. I hope they make a cinematic universe off this.
God, dude. No, but like, anyway, we'll be getting into that later. But like, the thing is. As I was trying to make the point, so like I want to say that I want to say this point just so going forward, we have this in our heads.
Yeah.
The thing is, the idea of Dracula. Now there have been interpretations of Dracula being a bit more sympathetic. Like there was Bram Stoker's Dracula, right?
Yeah.
Now this is a Francis Coppola film that was made. Oh God, I think it was in the 90s, sometime in the 90s. Keanu Reeves starred.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder, and Gary Oldman were in the film, and it was great. I love the movie to death. That's like one of my favorite vampire Dracula movies.
Mm-hmm.
The thing, because in that movie they kind of made it so that he fell, and so like. He fell because he lost his wife because he was fighting. I believe he was fighting against the Turks in this one too. Yeah. And he this guy this guy was a monster on the field, but he had this one redeeming quality in the fact that he had a love for his wife, and his wife loved him and stuff. Like they were in love. That they made that point very clear. But then the Turks, being the assholes that they were, sent a fake letter to his wife, basically stating that he had died in the field of battle. And so she commits suicide. Mm-hmm. And so Dracula in that movie he was a very devout Christian man. And so he's told by a priest, Anthony Hopkins, who says, "Oh, well, she committed suicide. She's just condemned to hell. There's no chance of her getting to heaven. Like, I'm sorry to tell you that, dude, but that's just the way the rules go for us." And then he's, of course, Dracula is very distraught by this, and so he basically renounces his faith, and then and then he says he commits himself to evil because he's just like he's a very devout Christian man. He devoted himself to God, and then it's just
William, did he reject his humanity?
Yes, he rejected his humanity. Okay, we are not going there. I know where you want to go, but we are not doing a goddamn JoJo's reference. But of course he's distraught, and so he's like, I do all this for God, but God doesn't do this for me, and so of course he renounces his faith, declares war on God, and so he says he is now a worshiper of the devil, and so that's the whole idea. That's just sad. Like you can understand why he did it, but it's just sad, and it's just like, oh well, he's a fucking monster now. Yeah. And then later on in the movie, it's still shown that he is very much a monster, but he does find a redemption at the end, but it's still all tragic because, of what he does and what it takes for him to get there, right? Mm-hmm. With the movie here, yeah, like we have this whole thing where it was, where he of course there's a reason for his fall. He takes on satanic powers for his people, so to save them and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But like throughout the film, it's just like you never really get the sense that he fell, because the thing is, in a sense, he never really does, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he always has a good reason for why he does what he does, but but because of that, he never feels like Dracula. He just feels like
Mm-hmm.
this like noble hero who's like who who does everything for his people, and then it's just like it's kind of like a whatever thing, but it doesn't feel like a Dracula movie.
Mm.
It feels like a random what like what a popular hero, modern day hero would be, and it's just not.
Mm.
We don't get the sense of tragedy, or you don't get the sense of you know, like there are some scenes where like temptation tugs at him, but he never really falls to it,
Mm-hmm.
until like there's some bullshit reason for him to bring him into it. Like it's never him falling to it. It's always someone else pushing him to it, and it's just like, but with Dracula, it was always his decision, and that's the tragedy of it, Or at least in the
Mm.
if we're talking about like Bram Stoker's Dracula, that's kind of the thing. But anyway, Dracula is always supposed to be a villain, but you never get a sense of villainy from this.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Did I get stuck?
What do you
Uh-oh.
mean you get? Are you still playing Animal Crossing?
Yeah. William, so my island, right, is separated by a river, and in order for me to cross the river, I need a pole, right?
Uh huh. Yeah.
Right? My pole broke.
The pole, bro. Okay. All
And
right. So.
I can't
Okay.
I don't think I can craft another one right now.
God
Uh-oh.
damn it, dude.
Oh fuck, I think I am fucking stuck on my okay, how am I supposed to craft that shit? Ooh. Ooh.
Okay.
Okay, keep going, sorry. I'm gonna figure this out.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna see about trying to bring the like I'm gonna see if I can make a brief synopsis of the plot. Okay.
Yeah, we just did. Did you
I mean, yeah, but like later on, like
oh.
we established that he sacrifices him. Like we kind of go into the fact that he you know that he does all this for his people and his family, right? But we don't. We should go into more detail, like on like why this movie doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So that let's see. How do I want to go about this? So we know he is the son, like Vlad the Impaler, son of the dragon. I know, like he takes on like, so I guess I want to do positives before we can get into negatives.
Yeah,
I don't know
okay.
if you want to do that.
Sure.
So first off, it is a bloody gorgeous film.
Yeah.
It looks really good. Like the whole there's the Roman architecture, and then there's, well, I guess it's Roman architecture. I'm not an expert on architecture.
Mm, yeah.
Like like all the set pieces, like the armor and stuff, like for the
Yeah.
Turks and the Transylvanians, like it
Mm-hmm.
looks gorgeous. Like I especially like the like this like the color palette that they used. Like it gives out that like you got hues of like blue, and it's just like dark blue, light blue, that kind of stuff. It gives that kind of like sad atmosphere, I guess that you can say. It's kind of like a Game of Thrones vibe that you would get with
Mm-hmm.
the coloring here, with the
Oh, I have a
pictures and stuff.
house. I have a house
And
now.
yeah, oh wait, you have a house now?
I have a house. I upgraded my Ted to a house. I
Oh
feel
my
so.
God, Austin, Austin, please.
All right. Yeah.
And yeah, but like it looks gorgeous. I will say, well, sort of. The thing is,
Mm-hmm.
like the CG, there's some shots with the CGI and stuff that kind of ruins it, which I'll
Mm-hmm.
get into later. But like it looks good. It looks really good. Like it's kind of an eye candy type of thing. And it's like so that's a positive there. I can't really say anything on the music. I never really noticed it in the film here. Um, Luke Evans, who portrays Dracula, I believe his name is Luke Evans. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He, he does the character well enough for what they wanted. You know, and he gives that sense, like he looks like a noble, like a noble guy, a hero.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like a prince.
Yeah.
Which is what I can say. And then
Right.
Like I will say like some of the effects that they do for the vampires, like this is like when Vlad and his soldiers, like the thing is, after he rules over, after Vlad comes back from war and he rules over his domain in peace, right?
Mm-hmm.
He and his soldiers discover a Turkish helmet, right, from that belongs to a scouting party to the from the Turks, right? It was downstream, and so he follows the river. He's like, oh, he concludes that the Turkish correctly concludes that the Turkish like the scouting party would be up in the mountains, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he basically he goes up to the mountain to find out where they are, but then he finds out that the scouting party has just been obliterated. They're all dead,
Yeah.
right? And then he goes in, and then he knows that something else in that cave killed the whole party, and he knows that they had no chance. So he orders him and two other soldiers he brought with him to just run, right? But this creature, whatever it was, basically kills them like both quickly, and he's only saved because he managed to reach the sunlight in time. And then like there's this real quick look, like this is Charles Dance's character as a vampire,
Mm-hmm.
and like you only get a brief glimpse of him at the beginning here. Like you see this visage of of this creature, like his eyes are glowing red in the dark, and you like see like his fangs are in and stuff, but you don't really get a look at his face yet. And it legit looks spooky when you see that. It's like, oh god, it looks so cool, it looks so spooky, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then this is when Vlad goes back. He talks to a monk, and then he learns that from the monk that it's a vampire. That like there's this guy, and that this guy who was tricked by a demon because like he wanted he wanted success and great powers and stuff.
Yeah.
But then he was tricked by this demon to live in a cave for the rest of as a price for all these powers and stuff. And that's basically that's the first vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And so we know that he's there, and that's how Vlad learns of has a this is going to be a chance for Vlad to basically take on vampire powers at some point.
Yeah.
Right. And so what she does later on after the Ottoman Empire demands their after they demand like 1,000 sons from like his country. And then after he of course says no, and then because war is gonna happen now, he goes up to the vampire, and then you start getting a look at what the vampire actually looks. Now he looks old and decrepit, and there's like details like with like long fingers and fingernails and stuff, like his eyes glow and stuff. This is like with this menacing red, and I actually like that look of that. And there's like this moment when Vlad is in the power of submission because like he has no power over this guy.
Yeah.
And so it like there's this moment where like he starts cutting a line in his neck, in Vladimir in Vlad's neck, and so, or Dracula's neck, I'll say, because it'll be simpler, in Dracula's neck, and like there's blood, and he's like there's this like effect when he opens his mouth, and then like his skin becomes translucent, and you can see the fangs behind it as he like extends his tongue to start licking up at his blood and stuff. Like it looks really cool, that kind of stuff that they do like it when they're concentrating on that scene. It looked really cool. So like that's like I suppose like another positive. It's like again is the visual aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like and I guess that's most of the positive I can say about this. It's basically all just visuals.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, same thing I have also. I was like, this movie looks pretty. It looks clean. It looks really good. I like all the visual effects. I mean, I like the fact so this was a reboot origin because remember we're in 2014. Remember in the year 2014, every origin has to be like this super grim, dark, moody fucking moody film, I guess now, because I guess that's the trend in 2014, because everyone's from the DC universe, as Deadpool says in Deadpool 2, which I believe will be a line in Deadpool 2 when it comes out. Wait, fuck, did Deadpool 2? Wait, has Deadpool 2 been out yet? Has Deadpool 1 even been out yet? Hold on, real quick, hold on. Deadpool.
I like how you're just trying to make the joke, and you're just like, wait, does this joke work? Does this joke work in this timeline?
Deadpool doesn't come out for another 2 years. Fuck. Oh fuck, goddamn! 2014 is it's so really long ago.
Look, man, don't worry about it. We live in an alternate universe. Don't worry about it.
Oh, the alternate universe where Deadpool was out at the same time as where Deadpool was out in 2014.
Exactly.
Oh Jesus fuck. So this movie was pretty much just like a dark, moody film because I guess this was the trend back then where they had to make movies where like fuck, we have to make this grounded, quote unquote grounded, right, with this existential hero.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, so and you could visually tell by the visuals. So I mean, I like this movie just for like a flick. Like if you just watch this movie, just like you'll leave satisfied. You're not gonna be like, I want more. I was like you'll leave this movie. It's like, yeah, that was a good movie. I watch it.
It's I ate some popcorn to it. I liked it.
Yeah. If it comes on the TV, I'll watch it. Like as that's something, I'll be like, fuck, I'm gonna watch this movie again in 2016 when Deadpool 1 comes out.
Yeah, it's not a movie that you'd buy a Blu-ray for. It's just like, oh, if it's on, it's on, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I like this. I like this movie was great. Like I said, the vampire aspect was cool with what they did with the vampires. The actions, the quote unquote actions were pretty good. They were spectacular. They were pretty great.
I mean, they're serviceable. I'll say if we're talking about action scenes, which we'll get into, but you know.
Yeah. I enjoyed this movie. I'm not gonna put this movie on a list. I'll be like, I'm not gonna put this on top vampire film list. I was like, probably, I guess, depending on how many vampire movies I see.
I mean, there are a good number of vampire movies, but it wouldn't make top 10. It wouldn't make top 10 or anything like that. It'd be low on the list.
Yeah,
but it'd probably be in the middle. Yeah. No, but it's enjoyable, and it's just like, I guess it's time to go into the problems of it, because a lot of it's like, it's boring. A lot of it is fucking boring. Okay, because you just watch it like, okay, I'm just waiting for the next set piece or whatever, and it's like, okay, so there, like a lot of it is basically the action scenes. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's the action scenes, and it's I suppose the tension is missing from a lot of it, because like when you're watching anything in this movie, and when there's like a scene that's supposed to be rife with tension, there is none, because you know that like Dracula has basically vampiric powers.
Yeah, he's a god. He's pretty.
At this point, he is very much. Yeah, at this point, he's very much a god among men, or a demon among men would be the more accurate term, right? And he's just like, he could wreck anybody. Yeah. It's like, what's the point of worrying when he can just destroy anybody? You know, like so that's the thing with the battle scene. So the first battle scene is like it's like it's supposed to impress you, and I guess it kind of does. Like you know this too, Austin, but like there are scenes where like when they're shooting like when like I don't know how you describe it, but it's like they take the camera and they rush forward to where they want you to focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that technique. Yeah. The zoom in, the quick zoom in.
Yeah, the quick zoom in and stuff. They have a lot of those, and honestly, those annoyed me. You know.
No.
Those annoy me, especially like the thing is like there's
that's
like
the vampire speed. We're looking at like through the vampire.
But there's we're not in the perspective of a vampire when they're doing this. It's just them doing it. Like the thing is, it's like
vampires can see into the future. Okay.
Okay, so look, but like here's the thing. Now there's a point where like, of course, this is right after like. He kills the party who's trying to take his son from him. He kills them. This is obviously a declaration of war, and he goes up to the mountain to get his vampire powers. So he comes back. He comes back down from the mountain, right? And then this is when you kind of see this is like he kind of discovers his powers for the first time. Like the bat effect, like when he becomes a swarm of bats and starts flying around, is actually pretty cool. I will say, it actually looks pretty cool. I actually like that a lot. But anyway, he finds out that like he learns that they're assaulting his castle at this point, and so he flies in bat form. He reaches the castle, and then he's like, he kind of peps his people, gives a pep talk to his people, saying, "Yeah, we're not gonna lose, dude. I'm here." And then like, "Yeah," and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so we're like, then it's
Yeah,
like,
that's my fault. I was like, yeah, you're not gonna lose because you were there.
yeah, but it's like fucking like they're shooting cannons, right? And so you get like a vision, like you're on the Turk side. They're shooting cannons, and then like it's like they're like, fire. There's a cannonball, and I guess we kind of follow the perspective of the cannonball because it just rushes forward through like the fucking battlefield, and then it's just like, and then to reach the gate. But it's such an odd scene. Like we didn't need it. You could have just cut to Dracula coming out of the gate, and then have him fight. Also, here's like then you had like it's annoying when they do that. Like they have some interesting scenes that they set up, but it's like first of all, like I'm just saying, I hate when they use that in this movie. It's just annoying, and it's never really used well. All right. But then you have Dracula coming out from the gate, and then he starts rushing at the enemy, at all the armies, right? And then it's like the armies rush on to meet him. But here's what the thing that annoys me too. Okay, so he's at the gate, but he doesn't stay at the gate. He starts rushing into the battlefield, into where all the other soldiers are, and the soldiers are rushing towards him, right? But then there's a scene where you see it looks like they're circling around him, but I'm like, what's to stop the soldiers from rushing from behind, like just running past you, and then going into the keep, and then killing everybody there while everyone else is focused on you? Like, what's to stop them from doing that? You know what I mean, Austin? You remember that,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, what's to stop them from just like killing your people when the better tactic would have been for you to have waited at the gate, or at least close the goddamn gate, because the gate was not broken, to have it closed, because I know he left it open when he left. He could have either closed the gate or stayed at the gate and fought off the army there.
Yeah.
But he never does that. It annoyed the hell out of me. It's like such a poor tactic.
Remember, this takes place in like year 1417. All right, war tactics weren't invented until the year 1418.
In 1418. God damn it!
I'm not gonna work that joke in again.
God, dude, look, man, how's that joke gonna work when that movie's not even made yet?
Oh fuck! Fuck!
Oh my god!
No. Hey, no. I think this is a good joke I'm making in the year blank 18. All right, I think that's gonna catch on.
Blank 18. Okay.
Yeah. Just in the year that ends with 18 in general will be a good joke to use in the future.
God damn it, Austin. Okay. Anyway, so like the thing is they had some cool shots where you see them get eviscerated, and there was this shot that I do remember still, where he impales a Turk. Are you okay? You fine?
I harass bees. Get my house. Get my fucking house. Get my fucking house. Okay.
Nice.
I was chopping down a tree and I knocked down a bee's nest, and they started coming after me, and I got real scared.
God. Okay, but yeah, he impales someone with a sword, right? And then you get this shot where basically as the guy's falling, because like he's falling in the twirl for some reason, but like I understand what they're going for. The camera kind of focuses on the sword, and then through the reflection of the sword, you see Dracula basically just destroying everybody else,
Yeah.
So we're in so that was kind of cool. But it's like, but then it's just like that's kind of it for the spectacle for that, and then they move the whole he moves his people and his army away from the from his castle, and then he plans to have them up into the monastery where because it's on the cliffside, and so the cannons wouldn't actually work there, because the thing is there's no really the cannons don't have real range, and for how they would have to line them up like on the trail, that wouldn't be feasible. So it's actually a good defensible position. So that's the thing. But then it's like knowing then by this point the movie should have focused on his struggle, right?
Yeah.
Which they kind of do. but they really don't focus on it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's this one random guy who becomes a plot device later on. Basically, he's like, "Oh yes, I followed the bats. I follow you, my master." It's like you're a vampire, yo. It's like I follow
Yeah.
that shit. And then he offers his blood to him. He's like, drink my blood. This is my fealty, type of thing. And so, you know, that's one of his the first temptations that like Dracula goes through, because again, he has to resist drinking human blood for 3 days, and then if he does, then he'll turn back into a human. Otherwise, he'll remain a vampire forever. He'll release the ancient vampire and then become a slave to him. That kind of thing. So, so obviously Dracula's like not into that shit. He's like, nah, I don't want to be evil, dude. And it's so weird because it's like they don't really spend a lot of time on his personal struggles. They kind of focus on the plot of what that would move the movie forward. And it's kind of annoying because it's like, again, this should be more focused on Dracula rather than, you know, the reasons around Dracula, you know, which is kind of why it's like it's not really a Dracula movie.
Yeah.
So then, you know, of course, his wife learns that, you know, that he's become a vampire and stuff, and then, you know, people are starting to kind of find it weird, you know, because like he's acting a little oddly as well, and then, you know, but of course his wife loves him, and you know basically gives him reason to like not come with him and stuff. Like God, I'm just trying to talk about this movie is kind of like a chore.
Yeah. Well, you saw this movie more recent than I did, so you have a bigger knowledge of this movie. So
I mean, yeah, I do, I guess, but it's annoying. It's annoying because then he's like, you know, he's just basically a boss at this point, right?
Yeah.
He's like, nothing's gonna really fuck with him, and he basically, like, there's a scouting party which is supposed to be like his people are moving up to the monastery.
yeah.
And then there's a scene where the Turks are just waiting in ambush, and so of course they attack. But then you have Dracula come in and he takes care of all of them, and it's just like, yeah, okay.
Cool.
Okay, he did it. Yeah, okay, let's just move on to the next scene.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the big thing. I thought there was no tension. There was like nothing threatening him throughout this movie. Because once he became the vampire, he was like, yeah, he's pretty much Superman at this point. He's pretty much God at this point. Like there was nothing on his level. Like I felt a little bit better if, I don't know, let's say like one of the Turks enemy he was fighting or whatever, right? Like that's actually like an archetype, but like just like some fucking general that's invading his homeland also became a vampire, and so the plot was him defeating the vampire Turk instead of just him just killing a bunch of fucking Turks for no fucking reason, right? I felt like I would have liked it better if there was like a more like an actual enemy, because like he had no enemies. He was just doing his own thing. He was like, fuck, do I have to do this today? He's like, oh, I guess I had to do this today. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing. Because he's just like, well, nothing's gonna kill him.
Yeah. There's no tension. There's no real streak for him to worry about. He was just like, all right, cool.
Yeah. Until the end, but we'll get into that later. And even then, in the end, it doesn't work. But again, we'll get into that later. So So of course, like, there's the attack, and then the army, just like the Ottoman army, the Ottoman Empire, the Turks, right? They're at the monastery. They approach the monastery, and then also there's this really silly scene where basically at this point Dracula has made a name for himself yet again, right? But this time among the Turks, and the Turks all fear him. They fear the rumors and stuff, right? And then the Sultan Mehmed, who I guess I should say did at one point fight alongside Dracula. He's basically like, it's like, oh, they cannot fear what they cannot see, and then it's just like he blindfolds them, and it's just like, yeah, he's like, you believed you couldn't march without being blindfolded, but you can, so follow me, you have nothing to fear. But like he keeps them blindfolded. I'm like, what's the point? That's like the silliest shit I've ever seen. To keep them blindfolded as they march. Can you imagine that? Just
marching blindfolded.
Yeah, just marching blindfolded like that. It's just silly. It's just honestly cartoonish, like what they did there. God, it was just I couldn't get over how silly that scene was. But yeah, they approach the monastery, and then we're at this point where Dracula's learning more and more powers about himself. Like he can control a whole shitload of bats, and then he just also this is also where it kind of gets silly too. Hold on.
Yeah.
So God, I feel like I'm gonna like burp or something, but it's like my body's like I don't think I want to do that right now. I feel like it, but I don't want to.
Well, is that the way your body's telling you that you're slowly becoming a vampire?
God, it's like oh, you want to burp but you don't want to. Yeah, that's how you know you're becoming a vampire.
That's the secret.
Yeah, that's the secret right there.
That's what's holding back humanity.
That's what's holding back humanity, burping.
Jesus.
But like God, I'm trying to remember how else we did. No, yeah, he starts learning about the bats, and then it's like he summons like it's just enough bats to darken the sky, basically.
Yeah.
And so, of course, he has the bats attack him. But then it's so weird how he controls them. Because it's like, I can get, like, having them swarm the enemy and basically having them suck their blood. Because that would have been neat. And also, that would have been an interesting loophole, basically, have them suck the blood so that he doesn't have to. And then, whatever.
Yeah.
But then it's like, he starts having them swarm up, and he makes a fist, and then the bats, like, they don't look like a fist, but they kind of form a fist, and then he brings his fist down into the ground, and he has the bats swarm into the ground, and then basically just obliterate anybody there. But it was so odd. It was such a cartoony thing. And then it's like, afterwards, I'm like, why can't you just have them swarm, and then go down with them, and then, have them all panic, and then you just obliterate everybody. And then he kind of does do that at the end, trying to look for the Sultan.
Mm-hmm.
But then the Sultan's like, wait, this isn't the Sultan. Where's the Sultan? And then at this point, you would think the Sultan would kind of like be up in the monastery, which he does have some Turks like sneak up into the monastery to kind of kill them from within. Which is like, yeah, I can believe that. But then it's like, the Sultan isn't even up there. It's like, no, it's only his soldiers, and the Sultan's down in there in the army, and he still thinks like, he sees us and like, what makes you think you're gonna win against Dracula? What makes you think you're gonna win on even terms with him like this? Like, at all? You know what he can do. What makes you think you can win? It was just annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And then, God, it's just like, then we're at this point where the enemy goes in, steals his son, and then his wife is like about to fall. He doesn't have time to save his son because then his wife is falling, and of course like I guess he just isn't fast enough to like stop his wife from falling down and hitting the ground. And this is where it gets a little like, oh God, it gets so dumb here, because like she hits the ground like from more than 1,000 feet. It's like skyscraper high, like a skyscraper type of thing. Like that's how high she falls from she falls, right? So somehow she's not paced on the ground, and then you get like that quick zooms thing again, right? Where it starts focusing on Dracula, and then it's like oh no, don't die, please don't die, that kind of stuff. Then she kind of like she's like you think she's dead and stuff, but then she's like she kind of wakes up. She's like, dude, I'm like dying, man. I'm like, but there's time to save our son. Just drink my blood, yo. I'm like, this is silly beyond all reproach, because like there's no way she could have had like survived that fall and basically been able to say any of that, And then of course this is when he drinks her blood and then becomes a vampire, releases Charles Dance, and then basically he starts okay, so he starts giving other people his blood so that they can have vengeance against the Turks, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like there was like a focus between like this one woman and these two other women, like for a camera shot, and I kept thinking that these were going to be the brides of Dracula,
Uh-huh.
But then that's not and there's only a focus on like two other guys, and then like there's the three women and then him. So I don't think I think, oh yeah, everyone else was probably dead. So then I'm starting to think, they go in, they annihilate the Turkish army, because at this point he finally learns to like manipulate weather. You
Yeah,
know,
because
when he
apparently
could like,
that's the
it's like
thing you can
what?
do.
Yeah, he can just suddenly do that now. I'm like, if that was the thing you could do now, why can't you do this earlier so that the sunlight would never be an issue for you? Like, why? Why? Oh god, it's just like a misuse of powers and stuff. It's like he has these powers. Why didn't you use them earlier? And then it's like he goes in, annihilates the army around him, has the other vampires annihilate them for him, right? And then so he has a straight shot for his son. And then and it's just like, now here's where I kind of like it, because now here's where there was a bit of tension, right? But then there was also not. So like the Sultan is in his tent with his son, and the Sultan, like the Sultan has a whole bunch of silver around him.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, because like it's implied earlier in the movie, because like Dracula gives tribute to the Sultan by giving him 1,000 pieces of silver and stuff. And so it stands to reason that like the Sultan would have gotten tribute from everywhere else too. And so he's like, this is a very clever thing on the Sultan's part, because silver is like a weakness for vampires.
Is it?
Yeah.
What was that? I know it's a weakness for werewolves.
No, I mean it's like it's this thing. Like it's implied in the movie here, so it's fine. You know?
Yeah.
And I remember silver being a thing as well. But so he surrounds himself in silver, and he has a silver sword, and it just really fucks with Dracula, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh yeah, there's some tension here because of that. But then you're like, oh, he has a son, he has to save him, and of course Dracula has to survive, because again, it's like, now by this point you learn that they're playing a dark universe. Okay, I'm moving into a joke here, but it's kind of necessary for this. But like, there are plans for a dark universe for you know, you basically for Universal that they want to do.
Yeah.
And so you know that at this point he's gonna live, because you know he's gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
You know, later on. And
He's gonna
so
assemble
like
the
he
team.
of course, but like, of course he lives, and then it's like he defeats the Sultan, and it's just like, yeah, he's gonna live. He's Dracula, you know. But if there was like, oh god, I'm gonna get into this later. But he defeats the Sultan. He rescues his son. But then, of course, all the other vampires, which were more than I was led to believe. Okay, because it looks like there's like 20 vampires when originally there was implied to be only 5 other people who survived the massacre. Okay. And then it's like, oh yeah, let's just like kill your son, and then you know we'll be free to do whatever the fuck we want. I'm like, dude, what makes you think he does all this for his son, and then he's gonna be free to let you do whatever? And then of course he's like, he kills the guy who was impudent against him and stuff. It's like, you forget who I am. I'm fucking Dracula, Vlad the Impaler and stuff. Of course he impales the dude in the heart and, you know, kills him. And then he manipulates the weather to kind of like have the sun shine on them. The monk kind of randomly comes in because again he has to cross and stuff. So he drives away the other vampires, and he promises to keep his son safe. And then, you know, Vladimir, the Dracula is all like, yeah, I'll just you know, have the sun burn me and all the other vampires. We'll sacrifice ourselves to keep my son safe, and then you know, we'll die.
Yeah.
And then that's presumably the end of Dracula. And then you know, his son lives on to become king of his Dracula's domain. And then you know, of course, the random guy who's like, I live to serve my master, and then he gives him his blood, and then of course, like, Dracula survives, and then we get a flash forward in an epilogue type of sense where it's modern day times.
Yeah.
There's Vlad is there. He meets a woman who has who is basically his wife, who introduces herself as Mina, and they basically hit it off. You know, they leave, and then Charles Dance is there. He gets up. He all looks posh and shit, and he's like, "Let the games begin." And
He said the coolest line in the entire movie.
It was. I mean, to be fair, anything Charles Dance says is gonna be the coolest shit you have ever heard.
Yeah, I was like, you know, that line was definitely a 100% reshoot, because they did reshoot. They said that they reshot lines for this movie because this is when they're like, yeah, we're making a dark universe. I was like, that's 100% a reshot line.
Yeah, but like a lot of this movie is like, it's just trying to be a grand epic, but honestly, with the runtime it has, and it's like an hour and 30 minutes,
Yeah.
it doesn't have time, and
Uh-huh.
it's only focused on spectacle when it should be focusing on Dracula and his fall from grace, you know,
Yeah.
and the thing is, he never really falls from grace, like at all, you know. There's never any real sense of tragedy other than the fact that his wife dies, and even then, I'm like, you know, because it's just like if they died because of him or something, then yeah, I could have like, if he drank their blood, then yeah, that would have been a tragic thing. And then
Mm-hmm.
if we renounce God and then he starts turning on his people turn on him, which there was a brief scene of. Like they do realize that he has become a monster, but then they're like, oh, okay, sure, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, we got nothing better
afterwards,
to do. We're gonna it's the year 1417.
yeah,
We got nothing better to do yet. It's not the
yeah,
year
it's like
1418 yet.
like if they abandoned him, if Dracula was on his lonesome and then that
Yeah.
drove him
Oh
to
yeah.
madness or whatever, then that would probably have been better.
Mm-hmm.
But there's never a real fall from grace, and then you don't get any real villainy that you would know, or that you would know that Dracula famous for, because Dracula gave no shits. He was an absolute villain, and then it's
Yeah.
just like, if it was like sympathetic beginning, but then you see the tragedy should be in the fact that he falls from grace, and then he's no longer the person that he once was,
Mm-hmm.
even to his own wife and child, you know. And if they and even through even if he saved his people, that they still rejected him and stuff,
Yeah.
even his own son and stuff, that would have been
Oh
better because
yeah.
then he
Yeah,
would have
that'd be way
turned to
better.
villainy. And then it's
Yeah.
just like, but you don't get that at all. You don't get the villain that you yearn for with Dracula, that you
Mm-hmm.
want from Dracula.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why it falls flat. It just feels a whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah.
You don't get any
Yeah.
real character substance.
Yeah, I
But yeah, go ahead.
I can see where you're coming from, where your logic was. Yeah, that does that. I mean, yeah, that would have been way more reference. Because like I said, yeah, because that one of the thing I remember, like there was nothing threatening him throughout this entire movie. He was just doing whatever he wanted. He was like, I was
Mhm.
like, like there was no threat. I was like, I was waiting for something to threaten him, but there was like nothing real threatening him. He was just like doing whatever he needed. He's like, okay, cool. It's like cool. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
it's
was
just
just too
basically
cool.
whatever. That's the thing, because it looks cool. It has some neat spectacle, but otherwise, there's no tension, there's no character development, there's no fall from grace and stuff that you would want from Dracula. There's no villainy from him, actual
Mm-hmm.
villainy from him, because they're like, he impaled people. He admits that, but then it's like he says, "Oh, but it was to save, you know, like sacrifice one village to save 10 other villages or whatever." When it
Yeah.
should have been like, there was this line earlier when like the thing is that he fought with the Turks before, and then one of the guys was like, "Oh yeah, but I know the monster that's inside you." He's like, I know he's still there, right? And so I would have liked it if he tries to be a good man, but he falls to the darker impulses within himself,
Mm-hmm.
but he never does, and it's just annoying because I would have liked it. It's like, yeah, I enjoyed killing, that kind of thing. Because who's talking about this with the vampire, because the vampire can know, like, Charles Dance, because he knows he can lie and stuff, if he
Mm-hmm.
lies. And I would have liked it to admit, like, yes, I am a villain, but I'm trying to be better. But then because he chose to do this, it's like that he can never resist that temptation to be like darker than who he wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been nice.
Yeah.
That conflict, but he never falls. He never falls to that villainy. It's always a good reason why he does the things that he does. And it's just boring.
Yeah.
There's no dark conflict that he struggles with.
Oops. I want to eat that.
Because he's able to overcome everything, and it's only at the behest of his wife that he becomes the vampire. And it's just boring and dumb. And it's just like, ugh, whatever, fine, yeah, let's just get to the next scene.
Yeah.
And then of course we move on to the next scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say anything more about it. That's just Dracula for me. It's something I'll watch on TV, and if
If it pops up.
it's a good
Yeah.
popcorn flick, I guess. But otherwise,
Yeah.
I wouldn't. There's no real high accolades for it. I gave it like a 5 out of 10,
Yeah.
a 6 out of 10 for spectacle, actually.
Yeah, I'm probably going around. Like I said, yeah. Like I said, there's that was my one problem. I remember when I was watching this movie originally, was the fact that there was nothing threatening him, or there was no big villain payoff. He was just like, yeah. I remember him just becoming a vampire, and then everything else afterwards in the movie doesn't matter after that. After he became the vampire, he was just like, because he was the vampire at that point. It was like, and there was
Mhm.
there was no threat. There was no no real story. It's just him. He just has to do what he was already doing, except he's now just a vampire while doing it. So
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, he didn't have to. Like, if you take out the element of him becoming a vampire in this movie, nothing would have changed. It literally probably would have just been the same movie, except he may have done. Except it may have been a harder, more work for him to fucking fight the Turks. But that was it. Like him becoming a vampire.
Too.
Like him becoming a vampire didn't open up or create anything. I guess you could talk about the point where he kills the other vampires. I guess that could be the new the new enemy, but other than that, I mean, he probably could have done that if he was just a regular human, I guess. Right?
Yeah, but it's like they had some like I like the opening first of all, and I like the first act, you know.
Yeah.
Because maybe like up to the point when he on the assault of his castle, up to that point. Because the thing is, there's some good setup there. There's the implication that that Dracula was, you know, a darker person than he actually portrays himself to be. There's his family, you know, like because he's a monster on the inside or something. It would seem like he is like he might do something to them even if he doesn't mean to. There's the conflict, of course, with the Turks and him.
Yeah.
And there's like the whole thing with the vampire and stuff. Like there's good setup there. Like basically in the moment when he says, "Oh yeah, I know that you're a darker person than you portray yourself to be," that kind of thing. Yeah. Because that could have led to the darker conflicts I already said before. Because there's some good setup there, but then it's like it doesn't pay off. There's none of it none of the promises like fulfilled. So it's okay. It's nothing to write home about.
Yeah, I probably feel the same. It's really odd. So, you want to talk about the Dark Universe? About the upcoming Dark Universe real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So this movie they confirmed in interviews that they did reshots for this movie because they're like, because this is the point where Universe like, oh, fuck, those cinematic universe, those are big. We're gonna get in on that, so we have to reshot the movie. And so we can obviously like the most obvious reshot of this movie was the ending with Charles Dunt's vampire saying "Let the games begin." I was like, wow, this fucking line is so fucking came out of. You know that line was not in the original screenplay or the original cut, and they had to fucking edit that shit in. I was like, yeah, I think because Vanity is quote you. I feel like they established like an anti-hero type of guy instead of just like this super cool Jesus character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what the fuck they were gonna do in the future with this franchise, and they actually continue with that, and they have hypothetically continued the Dark Universe off with this. I guess it would have been cool. I guess he just. Yeah. I guess I was like, all right. So what the fuck is Vad the Impaler gonna do now? Is he the Iron Man of the team or the fuck? Because I remember the Silver scene. It would have been so we're speculating at this point, right? Hyper speculation, right? I remember the Silver I was like, oh cool. I was like, I saw the Silver. I was like, all right. I was like, oh cool. They could tie the Wolfman into like Silver, like they could just have like one up thrown off lines like these Silver has been said to appear. It could kill monsters such as Wolfman or some fucking garbage like that. Like just like a one up throw off line. That would have been a nice line, but like I would have preferred a line like that compared to that whole end scene with Charles Dunn saying "Let the games begin." I was like, oh, you guys are really going in. You guys are super betting on this movie to be the gateway to the cinematic universe.
Yeah, but you know we got what we got.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I think that's my final.
Yeah, I'm done too. So.
All right. I think that's all we have to say about Dracula Untold. Man, boy, I can't wait to see Dracula v Wolfman Dawn of Justice. In the year 2016, it's gonna come out with the Dark Universe is gonna be great.
It's gonna be fucking Dracula versus Wolfman.
Yeah, Dracula v Superman. Come on.
Dracula v Superman. He's not even saying his own universe. He's going to the DC universe.
He's gonna fight the DC universe at this point. Dracula's gonna fight Superman at this point.
Holy shit, dude.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have nothing else.
All right. I think that's it. All right. Thanks for listening. All right. All right. I can't wait for the next movie we're gonna discuss. All right. Kate, thanks. Bye.